Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm putting together my Project Life spread for the week of December 2nd through December 8th, 2024, and I'm working with the Quiet Story Kit. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so this week, I'm using the Quiet Story Kit, and I initially planned this out back in August when the Quiet Story Kit came out. So the plan for this spread is in that Story Kit classroom. And at the time, I didn't have a specific week in mind. I was just thinking of doing a spread in a week that was a little bit quieter around here. And so I picked supplies for that. I feel like this kit was perfect for Project Life, and I knew I was going to have a quiet week at some point. So I kind of forgot about it, honestly. And then I realized that I hadn't used this one as I was finishing up the year of spreads. And so I wanted to go ahead and use it. So I picked this week. I had just a lot of like random photos around the house. We did a lot of progress on the pantry. And I think I accidentally printed too many photos because I clearly just didn't count right. So one of these photos is not going to make it. I'm thinking probably this one, but that's okay. And so I just have a couple of just like simple photos, not a lot going on. I also put these die cuts to use. So I'm thinking I can use these for a few of the photos here. Let's see. Maybe put this on the pantry. And then, so I have this for 3 stories from the week, and not a lot happened. I did take a sick day, so I think I can use this one to say, I wasn't really feeling well. So I just let myself take a sick day, which is something I didn't used to do. I used to just like power through. And I also, I got my new mug shelf, so I can put that here. I think I'm going to do some stamping for like 3 stories. And then let's see here for some other like little stories from the week. And then I have a couple other just like die cuts. Slow and simple and quiet. Feel like I have more die cuts than photos, but I could also put this maybe here and add something on there. There's also these, which are clear stickers. And I love word phrase stickers, but clear ones, you have to think ahead of them. So there's these ones that are white, and I could put those on some photos, but I might actually save these and grab some other ones so I can layer them with these die cut pieces. I want to use this one, but I feel like this one goes on here. And this one goes on here. And maybe I'm gonna put this one here because it doesn't have a die cut on it. And then this floral one doesn't really go on anything. Let me see, maybe I can put it here in the pantry. I don't know about that. We'll see. So I think that that's a good starting point. So basically I just need to do my journaling and put my dates on the title and kind of adhere these down, and then see if I want to add something else for my stash to pair with these die cuts on the photos. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on voiceover and get this one put together. Okay, so this one comes together really quick and easily. I feel like whenever I'm dealing with a kit, that's always the case. And I know I say that in a lot of my videos, but I often get questions about how long it takes to really do this project weekly. And if you use a kit for your spread, it really doesn't take that long. So I'm starting by figuring out my stories. So I have 2 journaling cards on this spread. I have the one with 3 stories and then the one for a longer story with the prompt of finding time for me. So I know that that one is going to be about my sick day and taking some downtime, but I'm trying to figure out what the 3 stories are going to be. So I'm just making notes on this sticky note. For every week in my Project Life album, I set up a spread in advance and I have a sticky note on the top left pocket that says what the dates are. I will often write on there what kit I'm using if I already have a kit picked out, and I will put down some additional notes on there as needed in preparation for putting the spread together. I often use it during putting the spread together for many things like this, like making notes and figuring out what stories are going to go where. I also pulled over these chipboard hearts from my stash. They are originally from Ali Edwards. I don't know what they are from. I've had them for a while, but I thought that the colors went really well with this kit and I wanted some sort of dimensional embellishment to add. Next, I pulled over this stamp set, which was from this last year's December daily collection. I really love this stamp set. I know it's going to be one that I reach for over and over, and I'm going to use it to do some stamping on a few of the cards in this kit or in this spread. So I decided to use it to stamp my date and to stamp a title on all of my journaling cards. Because I'm using stamping and I decided I wanted to do that on the 1, 2, 3 card, I am pulling it into 2 of my other cards as well. So there's going to be some sort of cohesive look across all of these cards by using this same stamp set and the technique of stamping words. So on my title card, I'm going to stamp my date with these letters. I typically use a rolling date stamp, but it's fun to mix it up every once in a while. And this set particularly has letters and numbers, so it worked really well for that. On the Finding Time for Me card, I'm going to stamp out sick day as sort of a title for my journaling. And then on the 1, 2, and 3 card, I'm stamping out my 3 stories that I'm going to tell on this card about my new mug shelf, hearing prep, which is something I was doing for work, and a mug swap. I'm stamping these different cards at the same time so that if I pull a specific letter and I need to use it more than once, I can do them all at once. And it just makes it go a little quicker and a little more fun. It's kind of like a game to see how I can do them to pick up letters the least number of times. Because stamping all of these words like this does get a little bit tedious, but it's fun and I love the look at the end, so I'm happy to do it. So I finished the sick day one and I'm just working on this one. The stamping of hearing prep doesn't fit on one line, so I'm going to stamp it onto 2 lines, which is totally fine, and I feel like it ends up looking really nice. If I had realized I was going to do that, I probably would have stamped the words mug swap a little bit lower, but it's okay. And honestly, I didn't have a ton to write about that, so it was nice that the stamping took up more space. Once I finish the stamping, I'm going to do my handwritten journaling on this card. And I'm just going to write a little bit about each of these stories and kind of how it impacted my week. I'm using my new favorite pen, which is the Energel Clenna 0.5. This is the pen I've just been using recently, and I will link it in the description box below. As always, any of my favorite supplies that are available on Amazon, I have linked in my Amazon storefront. So if you are interested in picking those up, you can get a link to that in the description box below or in my bio on my Instagram account. So if you are ever curious what supplies I'm using, I have all of my favorites linked there. I do still love the Sarasa Mark-On pen, which is one that I have used and recommended many times on this channel. But if you are like pens as much as I do, you know that you go through phases and pick new ones up. And I really like the way this one writes. I also like the way it looks, like the pen itself. It's cute. I will probably go back to the Sarasa Mark-On at some point. I think the Sarasa Mark-On is slightly juicier, but they're both very nice pens, and I am currently using them a little bit interchangeably. So after I finish my journaling here, I'm going to move on to embellishing. One of the embellishments that I selected when planning out this spread were some of the die cuts. So this kit had a variety of die cuts, and I picked a few of them to include in the spread, which I am going to add onto a number of my photos. You can see I kind of laid them out. Some of them, though, have like quotes on them, like the one I'm adhering onto this photo with pumpkin. And other ones are more background images, so I am going to find a way to turn those into a bit more of an embellishment cluster as I go. But for now, I'm just adhering the ones down that I know where I want them to go. This one is a little bit of a label, so there's some space to add some journaling, which is perfect because one of the things that I did this week was make progress on my pantry reorganization. So I wanted to make note of that on one of those photos because it wasn't one of the stories that made the cut for the 3 stories card. I often get questions too about Project Life, about how to do the journaling. And I've been doing this project for so long that originally I used to stress and worry that I needed to include every story that happened. But now I've kind of let that go. If I miss things that happen, that's totally fine. This is just supposed to be an overview of my life in general, and it doesn't have to capture every single detail. It also helps for me personally that I also keep a daily journal because sometimes stories will show up in there that don't end up in my Project Life album and vice versa, and that is totally okay. I'm rearranging the cards a bit just to get a good balance. As I start adding embellishments and everything, I start to see how it will look balanced across the spread. I went into my chipboard organization drawer and pulled out this bucket that are all of my hearts. I am going to be sharing an updated video later this month about how my chipboard organization has updated. For now, I do have a video sharing my chipboard organization on my YouTube channel. If you're interested in seeing how I had it previously organized, that video is still extremely relevant and useful, but I did update my system pretty recently and I will have that video coming for you in a couple of weeks. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. But I pulled out this jar of chipboard. These are hearts, and I pulled a couple of the gold ones to layer on top of the die cut pieces that didn't have words or anything because they felt like they needed something else. And I added one on that photo of the shelves and one on my title card. I also added one of the word phrase strips from the kit and pulled over another set of word phrase strips from my stash to add onto my title card. And then I'm moving on to doing my journaling about my sick day. For this card, I'm journaling about taking a sick day and then just generally about this week and taking care of myself and everything having to do with this specific theme of finding time for me and taking the sick time from work. So after this journaling card, I do still have one more journaling card, which is that one that is yellow with all of those lines on it. So that journaling card, I really like that style, and it is something that has been showing up in various kits from Ali Edwards. I think she's done the same style card before, and there are a number of ways that you can use it. So you could use that to tell one longer story and just a journal on each of those lines as if they are just one large block of text, or you can treat each line separately for a little micro story. And that is what I decided to do here. So I had my main stories explained or like already journaled on all of these other cards. So I was trying to decide what to include here, and I decided to just include those little tiny stories that were only a couple of words. And I added one of the chipboard hearts in front of each one as a fun bullet point. And I am so happy with how this card came out. I had so much fun with it. I wish that I had done the first one a little bit different just because I wasn't sure I was going to do that large text, but it was just a lot of fun to come up with little pieces of my daily life from this week and add them as smaller, just like sentences or just a couple words and write it big, and having fun just kind of varying the size of my handwriting. When I'm doing something like this, I am actually looking off screen at my Hobonichi cousin. In my Hobonichi cousin journal, in the weekly spreads, I keep track of everything that I do on a daily basis for purposes of putting together my Project Life spread. So I put together this spread in late December. So it was already a few weeks after this week had happened, and I wouldn't have remembered a lot of these smaller details but for the fact that I made note of them in my journal. So what I ended up adding on this list was so much happy mail, cross stitching, which is something I've been doing a ton of now that it's colder outside, lots of crafting and editing, the final story kit and December daily, slow flow yoga, watching The Perfect Couple and Christmas movie Solo, matzo ball soup, new decor and baskets for my craft room this week. So this was just like a few little details of my week that weren't captured in the photos or my longer stories. And I like just seeing them on this card. And I have to say this card becomes my favorite one from this spread and really makes me love how this spread turned out. After I finish this card, I do go ahead and add a couple more of these small chipboard hearts onto a few of the other photos. So some of the photos have those die cut pieces that don't have the large gold hearts on them. They just have like sentiments. And what I decided to do was add one of these chipboard hearts onto 3 of those just to kind of have a repeated embellishment type. An embellishment cluster on a couple of the photos. And because I was using those hearts on that list of journaling, I like using it somewhere else in the spread also to make the overall spread seem more cohesive. That wraps up putting this spread together. So I'm just going to go ahead and slip everything into the pockets. I'm really happy with how this one turned out and super happy that I remembered I had this quiet story kit to create a spread in here because this was perfect for this quieter week, just staying in the winter and when I was being sick in a little bit and just like relaxing. So this is a look at this completed spread. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I hope to finish up my 2024 project life in the next couple of weeks, and I will share those videos here with you, and then a completed flip through of the album. Thank you guys so much for being here, and as always, hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye!